Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Elise, and this is 10 to Life, where we are talking everything true crime. So if you're stopping by and checking out the channel for the first time, I hope you appreciate today's case coverage and consider supporting the channel by hitting that subscribe button, which is totally a free way to support the channel, by the way. It costs nothing. And for all my returning 10 to Lifers, welcome back. I am so happy to have you guys here with me today. Today, we are back with updates in the case of 26-year-old Courtney Clenney. Courtney Clenney is an OF model who has been accused of brutally murdering her boyfriend. Since the beginning, her attorney has been painting her as the distraught, heartbroken woman who, after the murder, voluntarily checked herself into treatment in Hawaii because she was suffering from PTSD. But now, not only are there updates from the courtroom, but we're also hearing updates that she was actually active on her OF account this entire time during the investigation, posting extremely explicit photos and videos to her nearly 2 million followers, seemingly without a care in the world. So what's the truth here? And what's really going on in this case? So guys, let's get right into it.
10 to Life with Elise starts right now.
26-year-old Courtney Clenney, the OF model accused of killing her 27-year-old boyfriend named Christian, was seen in court for the first time last week since her arrest back in August in Hawaii and before her extradition from Hawaii back over to Florida.
All right. Thursday night, the only model accused of murdering her boyfriend appeared in court.
Your Honor, at this time, Ms. Clenney will waive her right to an extradition hearing.
Clenney arrested on a warrant while in rehab in Hawaii for the murder of Christian Obumseli in Miami in April. Clenney told a judge she would voluntarily allow officials to transport her to Florida to face her charges.
And Courtney faces second-degree murder charges for fatally stabbing her boyfriend Christian Obumseli, who's 27 years old, in the chest while they were in a heated argument on April 3rd of this year. They had been dating for less than 2 years, and their relationship was extremely tumultuous. So I have the full breakdown of this case with, the footage, the interviews, the graphic photos, all of that on my channel, so I'm not going to rehash all of that here for you, but what I will do is I will link the playlist and the video right here and also in the description of this video, and I guess I'll pin it in a comment too. That way, if you want to do like a full-on deep dive on this case, you can check that out, because I think that video too is like 45 minutes and literally contains everything, whereas here, we're going to talk a little bit about what's gone on in the case in the past, but mainly we're going to be talking about updates. So if you want to get caught up, check that out and then come back over and check out this video. So since the beginning of all of this, Courtney has claimed that the stabbing took place in self-defense after Christian reportedly grabbed her by the throat. And not only that it took place in self-defense, but she says that the knife that ended up, making that fatal stab wound was thrown by her from 10 feet away, and that it just miraculously, landed and penetrated so deep that he died, which nobody was really believing, because we all have seen, I'm sure, those like axe throwing places, knife throwing places. Like, what's the likelihood that you're 10 feet away from somebody, you throw a knife, it's spinning in the air, which knives are thin and flimsy, it's spinning through the air, and then the point perfectly lands, and it also somehow penetrates so deeply in that it causes a fatal stab wound. But her attorney doubled down with that claim and said that not only was it self-defense, but that Courtney was also a victim at the hands of Christian of trafficking. I want to say the word on here, guys, but these YouTube streets just be flagging me left and right. So I'm spelling it out for you. You get it.
Lord have mercy. Damn, this is some scary shit. Oh, I am scared.
So to bolster this self-defense story, her attorney also asked that Christian's body be exhumed and inspected by a medical examiner. However, this entire claim of self-defense was quickly scrutinized by the public and debunked by the prosecution. The wound from the stabbing was fatal, and experts say it was done within close proximity, not 10 feet away as Courtney had claimed. And in addition to that, damning elevator footage was released shortly after her arrest. The elevator footage from the couple's Miami high-rise apartment showed the couple in a very heated altercation in which Courtney viciously was punching and kicking Christian Christian repeatedly. And in the footage, he can be seen trying to dodge her hits and distance himself, which, by looks of it, only further upset Courtney. And this incident that was all caught on footage in the elevator took place 2 months before Christian's death. So because of this, her self-defense claim essentially lost all credibility because it appeared that she was the aggressor in the relationship. And there were also experts saying that the fatal wound would have had to have been inflicted very close by. Now, this hasn't yet been tried in a court of law, so as far as her self-defense claim being completely, debunked, legally, not yet. But we're going to get there. So the public also scrutinized Courtney and claimed that she had absolutely no remorse for what she did. Not long after the murder, she was seen in a hotel lobby grabbing drinks with her father, and this just infuriated the public.
His brother. Yeah, and they're seeking justice.
Typing, sir?
Yeah,
What?
let's all videotape her. Okay. Right now, you should go. Yeah, you should go. Because you just know her boyfriend. Yeah, you did. Yeah, and yeah. He's right to you. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Also, throughout the investigation, Courtney was allegedly posting X-rated content on her OF page, making many believe that she was not that distraught or heartbroken woman that she was claiming to be. In fact, some X-rated content had appeared on her site a day after she killed Christian, but it's still unclear if she posted it that day and it was fresh content or if it had been scheduled to go live before the murder took place. But it has been now said that even after the murder, up until her arrest, she has been active and posting content on her OF. Not on Instagram, but on her OF. Now, shortly after Courtney's arrest, her attorney argued that her charges should be reduced to manslaughter and that she should be offered bond.
The woman accused in her boyfriend's stabbing death made her first appearance in a South Florida courtroom. Courtney Clenney facing a judge after being extradited from Hawaii.
There's an information that has been filed for a murder in the second degree with a weapon, a life felony. And the original warrant was issued with a no bond hold.
Courtney Clenney, accused of stabbing her boyfriend Christian Abumseli to death, appeared in bond court Saturday morning. Her lawyer, Frank Prieto, says there is an issue with the arrest warrant.
I just feel it's important that the court be made aware that that warrant that Judge Dello signed, I do find that he did find probable cause. However, there's not probable cause for second-degree murder, Judge. At best, it's manslaughter. The detective also indicated there's no signs of bruising that were consistent with Ms. Clenney. I was at the homicide unit and I have photographs of her bruising.
I can go on all day, Judge. At this stage, it is inappropriate for a first appearance judge to be addressing these substantive matters on this proceeding. This is something that counsel should raise through written motion before the trial court.
However, at that hearing, the judge declined to rule anything, saying that she was not informed enough about the case to make a decision and that she was going to return to prison without bond.
I don't want to make any sort of ruling and then jeopardize whatever right for review you'd have in front of a judge who may be more familiar with the facts of the case.
I understand, Your Honor.
For all those reasons, I'm going to abstain at this moment from interjecting my opinion and allow this case to be reset in front of the judge who's going to be handling the case.
So in this new hearing, it was all about evidence and what would and would not be allowed in the courtroom. During the hearing, her attorney, Frank Prieto, asked for an order limiting the release of what's now being deemed as adult content on Courtney's phone.
Today, her attorneys asked a judge to limit the amount of evidence revealed to the public, worried it will jeopardize the case when it goes to trial. It comes after the state attorney's office released a shocking video of Clenney attacking her boyfriend just months before he was killed. Her attorney says the case has gained so much publicity that releasing any more evidence could make jury selection a complicated process. He says much of the evidence is not relevant to the case.
To vigorously defend my client, I'm not going to stand back and let her be a punching bag in the media. The drip, drip, and drip of release of video in this case, or audio, pictures, is going to erode our client's right to a fair and impartial trial down the road. When we're countering the weight and the influence that this will have on Ms. Clenney's trial down the road, her right to a fair and impartial jury, which I submit to the court by the state already releasing that video, has already elongated the jury selection process by days. The most poignant part about that state attorney news conference was the release of an elevator video that depicted a physical altercation between Ms. Clenney and Mr. Obumseli. In that video, which has been disseminated by millions now and edited, it's not, the state attorney put it out there without any context. The beginning of that video shows Ms. Clenney trying to keep Mr. Obumseli from getting onto the elevator. It's important to note that that elevator also goes directly to that apartment. But why is that important here? This continued drip, drip, drip of information coming through the discovery, which is listed, there's thousands of photos. They did a cell phone download of Ms. Clenney's phone, which is going to contain hundreds of this degeneration, hundreds, probably thousands of text messages. It's also going to contain content that she would use on her own, which has nothing to do with the events of August 3rd, 2022, I'm sorry, April 3rd, 2022, when Ms. Clenney had to defend herself. It's going to contain, this drop of discovery, I'm submitting a terabyte drive to the state, is going to contain personal text messages with her family, friends, third parties that have nothing to do with this case. This case needs to be tried in this courtroom with the protections that I know Your Honor will give us to a fair and impartial trial.
He characterized this content as photos and videos on Courtney's phone that are NC-17 and explicit in nature. And the content allegedly contains homemade videos of Courtney and Christian engaging in sexual activity, as well as explicit content that she took of herself with the intention of posting it on her OF page. And in addition to all of that, apparently she has archived explicit photos that she has already posted in the past, but that are still saved on her device.
It takes a lot to get me into jeans. Either you're a cute ass boy. If you're taking me to dinner, I'll put some jeans on for you. I'll put some jeans on for you, but I won't be happy about it. Another thing, that song, It's a Vibe, I hate that song. It's a vibe, it's a vibe, it's a vibe, yeah, it's a vibe, yeah. I wrote raps better than that. It's a vibe. Stop with that.
So his argument is that by allowing this content into the trial, it will turn into a circus of media outlets just publishing salacious materials that actually have nothing to do with the guilt or innocence regarding Christian's murder. He also stated that the content would prevent her from getting an impartial jury. However, the prosecution argued that the defense was trying to simply control the narrative with this motion, and that by not allowing everything into evidence, it allows the defense to paint Courtney as an innocent victim, a claim again that they have been arguing since this all unfolded and Christian was murdered. So the judge ultimately denied this request in the interest of having full transparency.
Based on argument presented during this hearing, based on the written pleadings, the legal authority, and the declarations respectfully, the motion for a protective order and injunctive relief is denied. This court finds that although this court may have some discretion pursuant to the rules of judicial administration, this court is bound by legal authority, which is the Lewis test and the three-prong test. Respectfully, I find that the
And Courtney, who was present at this hearing, handcuffed and dressed in an orange jumpsuit, shook her head as the judge denied the motion to limit the evidence shared. The state attorney's office allegedly has thousands of photos, audio, and content from Courtney's social media pages, as well as more than 12,000 text messages between her and Christian. So it's going to be extremely interesting once the trial starts to see what evidence is presented and what the contents of those audio files, photos, videos, and the 12,000 text messages really are. Her trial is slated to begin on December 19th of this year. So assuming there are not any delays, it's going to be right before Christmas, which I would imagine is tough for everybody involved, because the last thing you want to do is be hearing about your family member's murder right around the holidays. So we'll see if it happens on time. If it does, and whenever it does, I will be live streaming it and covering it here and going through all the evidence presented. And we're really going to see what happens here, because the defense has stated with such conviction that this was absolutely self-defense, that she is a victim, that she was suffering from PTSD after, that she had to check herself into the treatment center over it, and that, she's the helpless young girl, damsel in distress, whatever you would call it. Yet the prosecution and Christian's family, of course, is saying that's actually not it at all. She has a history of DV, not only just in relationships in general, but she actually was arrested in July of 2021 when they were living in Vegas, I believe, for DV against Christian. So they're saying she's had a history of this. It's in her behavior. It's in her blood, not to mention that after the murder, she was gallivanting around to hotel lobbies, then to a luxury treatment center in Hawaii, still posting on her OF to make money to her 2 million followers. She's not, they're saying she's not a victim at all. She didn't care. She couldn't care less. And now she's arrested and charged. And now here come the waterworks. So it's going to be interesting to see both of these sides argue what their position is in the courtroom. And more than that, I'm very interested to see all of that evidence. What really went on in this relationship? We're going to get a huge insight into that through the 12,000 text messages, of course, but also through the footage that's on her phone, the documents. I think we're going to gain a lot of insight as to, was there any sort of level of mutual DV or control or whatever you would, whatever may have happened in that relationship, or was this one-sided as the prosecution is stating it was? So I'm going to follow along closely, and we are going to talk about that trial as it happens in real time. Again, December 19th is the day that it is currently scheduled for, and if there are any updates that come out between now and then, I'll be sure to jump on here and let you know. All right, guys, thanks again for tuning in today. And again, if you want to get fully caught up with all the details, the footage, the bloody balcony photos, all of that stuff, you can click that link in the description or the comment section and get caught up in my previous video where it just lays it all out there. Full deep dive. All right, guys, thanks again for tuning in. And until the next one, stay safe.